everyone, my name is Jen. I think many of you might know me from MasterChef Season 1.
Whoa!
And where we are here today is Sourbombe Bakery. So this is like the first shop that I ever opened ever since MasterChef and ever since graduating from culinary school. And today we are partnering with Thermomix to make one of the shop's most famous loaf cake recipes. So the recipe we are doing today is a Blueberry Lemon Loaf Cake, my personal favorite. And what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna show you how to use the Thermomix, kind of like a stand mixer. And you can use the butterfly whisk to really whip up a really good batter as well. So I'm gonna show you how to do that in a second. And now we're just gonna prepare all our ingredients. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please like and share this video and share with all your friends how to do this loaf cake recipe. Don't be selfish, okay? So first things first, get all your ingredients prepared, and you can actually weigh each and every one of them using the Thermomix. What I've done is already measure it all out and put it into the individual bowls. So to refer to the recipe, it will be after the tutorial. We'll send you like a soft copy of it. So first would be the whipping of the sugar and the eggs. So basically what you want to get here is a very fluffy consistency. The eggs should look almost pale-like and very bubbly, and that's when you know you get a good batter or a good base to start with. Okay, so let's just open up the Thermomix and we're gonna put our butterfly whisk in and then put it on reverse. So you don't want to like cut it all up, you want to whip it. So just press the spinning button and it should go in like the reverse instead of cutting speed. And then you can add your sugar in and your eggs. So just 2 ingredients first. Don't be over enthusiastic and add everything in, because then you cannot get like a very good consistency. Then make sure that your butterfly whisk is fitted nicely. Cover. So you want to start on slow first, and I always like to kind of take off the cover and just look at what is going on so I know how fast I should go. So you should go low at 2, then make sure everything is blended, and then you can go faster. I like to kind of beat it at 3, and then it should whip into like a very fluffy, light yellow consistency. This should take about 3 minutes, so just be patient. So while your egg mixture is beating up, you have to do a very crucial step, which is for all cake recipes or cupcakes or basically things that needs flour, always sieve everything so that you get a very fine texture and it will be incorporated better into the cake batter. So what we have here is the plain flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. So make sure that all of them is sieved together, because I made the mistake once of not sieving my sodas and my powders, and what happened is that someone bit into like a really huge chunk in the cake and they were like, oh my god, it's so bitter. So if you don't do that, then you're gonna get complaints. So make sure you always sieve everything. So just get a big whisk and sieve it through. And don't waste the bits that ends up at the bottom. Just use your hand and like kind of smush it through the sieve, and you should get all the flour in. It's very important because like, you know, you took the effort to weigh everything out. So you do have to, when it comes to baking, you do have to be quite accurate to make sure your product comes out well. Okay, wow, it's really fast. It's already very light and fluffy, and I'm just gonna stop this to show you how it looks like now. Okay, so can you see it? Okay, yeah. It's really light and fluffy, and this is what you want, and this is basically the same thing that you will achieve in a stand mixer. So, I mean, honestly, I'm impressed as well. So now we're gonna stream the fat of this recipe in. And the fat that we're using is basically olive oil. I love using olive oil for all my cakes. So my first experience was with chocolate olive oil cakes. You should try that, it's really good. And then I got addicted, right? And then I put it in every cake that I can think of. And in this blueberry lemon, it also has a very nice aftertaste, I would say. Because lemon and olive oil is kind of like a match, you know, made in heaven as well. So we're gonna use olive oil to stream into our batter, and make sure that you're spinning on kind of like a low speed. So I would say about 1, speed 1 would do, and then you just stream it in. So make sure that you're not like pouring the oil in. Make sure it's a very steady stream so that your batter won't split. And then when it splits, right, not say like you'll completely die, you're still okay, but it just can have a better result lah when you do it slowly. Okay. So it's all in. And then we're gonna add some yogurt. So this recipe has some yogurt. So I guess like if you are very familiar with baking, you'll understand what baking soda and baking powder work as. So they are kind of like the powders that will make your cake puffed up a lot. But then for baking sodas, it does need like a instigator. So the instigator is acid. So acid can come from lemons, can come from yogurt. So we're gonna add some yogurt and some lemon juice later, so to kind of like react with the baking soda, and then you'll get a really nice puffy and tall cake, and it'll taste really moist and fluffy as well. So we're just gonna put in about 2 tablespoons. And with yogurt, right, instead of just putting lemon juice, it kind of adds more fat to the cake as well, and so it will become more moist in the end. So I'll get your very beautiful whisk sieve flour mixture, and we're just gonna add it in slowly while the mixture is spinning as well. So I like to just kind of feed it into the hole. And when you gradually add the flour mixture, it will ensure that it's very nicely mixed, and you'll get a much better product than if you just dump it all in. So with baking, you need a lot of patience, you need a lot of care, and love lah, basically. Oh, and also, this cake recipe kind of fills the Thermomix all the way up. So you can increase the quantity, but be very careful with it, because the bowl like maximum weight is also a factor. So do like be careful with that. You can also halve this recipe to make a smaller yield, and it'll still work the same way. And make sure that you push all your flour in from the sides. And you should get kind of like a thick consistency. Okay, I like to give it like a boost, so like a final like fast speed at 3 for like 5 seconds, and we're done. So be careful, don't over mix cake batters, muffin batters, because you're stretching the gluten a lot, and you don't want that, because if gluten is very overworked, it will get really gummy, and you don't want gummy cakes. It's not nice. Okay, so now what you have essentially is a basic loaf cake batter, very beautiful batter, and you can add anything you want to it. Today we are doing lemon blueberry, but if you want to add like pistachio nuts, you want to add rum raisin, you want to add any sort of flavor combination you want, you can. So this is like a base recipe. So what you can do is to get like my blueberry weight and kind of just match it with anything, any other fruits you want, like raspberry, blackberries, or whatever. that you want. Yeah, so very versatile recipe, and you can make like 10 different cakes, variations of cakes. So now we're gonna add our inclusions, and I've taken some frozen blueberries out of the freezer. And contrary to popular belief, you can use frozen fruits and frozen vegetables for your everyday cooking. You know, a lot of people are very scared to use like frozen vegetables because they think that it's not very fresh, it's like a cheaper way to buy fruits and vegetables, and it's not as nice. But actually, a lot of frozen fruits are picked at its ripest. So you get like the sweetest fruit from there, and it makes the best jam, makes the best cake. And it has like a really nice color. It has a very nice purple color into the cake as well. So I prefer using frozen berries for cakes because it doesn't like melt and leak too much because of the freshness of it. When you use fresh blueberries, the result might be slightly more different, and I would say not as tasty because sometimes the fresh blueberries are quite tart and sour, and yeah, not so nice. I prefer the sweeter kinds. Okay, so we're gonna add in the blueberries first. There's about 250 grams, and then lemons, we're gonna zest it in. So lemons are like, the flavor is all like in the skins. So if you ever buy any lemons back home, or limes, oranges, the skins are like the cream of the crop. So if you throw that away and only use the juice, you're wasting a lot of precious resources. Lemons can be used in pastas, to finish a stew, to put it as garnish on one of your dessert, your ice cream, and it adds a very nice aroma to everything. Yeah. So don't throw them away, add it into your cakes, your drinks, your savory dishes, and always get a good microplane or zester. So all our lemon zest are in, and just a final juice of lemon. I keep all my lemon in bags because we go through a lot of lemons in the shop, and we kind of just squeeze everything in one day, and a person will be a poor person will need to squeeze all the individual lemons and kind of compile it into one bag. And then for the other people, it's very easy, you just open a bag and just pour in. So you don't have to like go through the trouble, but if you're at home, you know, just squeeze your lemons lah. I add about 2 splashes. Okay, put the cap on and kind of stir it at a low speed, like 1 to 1.5. So what you want to do is just to fold it through, right? And why we have been using like the reverse motion from the start is because I don't want to cut up all these beautiful blueberries, and I don't want you to forget to change the turning speed as well. So if you have been like cutting all the way and then at the end you forgot, oh yeah, I'm going to cut, right? Then all your blueberries are going to mush up all into your batter, and then it's just going to be blueberry mash cake. Yeah, very delicious, I'm sure. Okay, so we're done. And you want the blueberries to be whole, nice pieces. So when you cut into one, you see those pops of blueberries. It'll be very juicy, very delicious. Okay, so once you're done, let's just clear this area. And then we're gonna put it into baking molds. I have a very huge tray, but because we have a bakery. But if you don't have this huge tray at home, just get any flat pan that can fit into your oven. And try to get like non-stick molds. I really love this rectangular non-stick molds because it's like the perfect size. Like this is like big enough that you'll be satisfied, and not small that, or like not too big that you need to share with like people. And you should never share your cake, guys. Just eat everything. So, okay, so just scrape all the goodies out of the butterfly. Then, okay, Now I'll just let you see how the batter looks like now. So you can see it's like I didn't even mix it with my spatula and it's so well mixed. So you see the blueberries all very nicely dispersed, and that's what you want. So how much you want in a mold is about 200 grams. But because I've been doing this a long time, I don't really need a scale. But I always recommend to scale stuff, because then you know exactly how much it's gonna rise, and it's gonna rise well. And if you put too much into a mold, it'll overflow and your cake will just become like a volcano, basically. And you don't want that. So 200 grams in this kind of molds. Or another indicator would be 3/4 of the way up. So make sure it's not too high up the edges and just right below, and it should rise really beautifully. And if you want to be really fancy, you can add like pearl sugar on top, or nuts, or just, I don't know, blueberry jam swirled on top to add more blueberries into the cake. And then it kind of like, if you add it to the middle, or anything you want to add to the middle, it'll kind of split nicely, and you get a very nice crack in the middle. Here. So this recipe should yield about 9 to 10 cakes. So just make sure you have enough friends and family to eat them. So now you have gotten all the batter into the molds. Just make sure they are spaced evenly on the tray. And oh, I forgot to mention this, but you should have preheated your oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about like 10-15 minutes, you know, depending on your oven if it's fast or not. I like to do it like 10 minutes before. So like when you add the inclusions in before you're putting all the batter into the trays, I like to preheat it then. But luckily I've already prepared it, so we can go straight into the oven now. So let's just bring this whole tray. So the cake is in the oven now. So just to recap, it's set at 180 degrees Celsius and it's supposed to bake from around 25 minutes to 30 minutes. So do check at the 25 mark. You can just put a toothpick in or a cake tester in to see if there's any crumbs. So if you still see like sticky bits, right, it's not ready. So just put it in for maybe 5 to 10 minutes longer. So it should come out quite clean. Okay, so in that time, we are gonna clean our bowl for the next recipe. Yes, we have recipe number 2 today, but let's just clean our bowl first. So what I really love about the Thermomix is that it's self-cleaning, and I never knew about this until like my boyfriend told me. He was like, oh, do you realize there's a function like that? I was like, oh, I didn't know. So I've been cleaning like my Thermomix like manually, and you know, it's quite hard to get into the grooves and everything. So this method is really quick, and you can just leave it, it'll be done. So after adding like 1 liter, there's a marking there, so add 1 liter of water and a pump of dishwashing liquid. We're gonna add the cover on and just go to the pre-clean settings and turn the dial to fat or caramel, because we use some olive oil and eggs, and those are all fatty substances, and you want it really clean. So turn it down to there and just let it go. So once it's ready, it'll kind of like scream at you. And you're like, okay, it's ready. Okay, so this soothing sound or music coming out of it means that it's done. So let's just off it, and wow, look at that. So clean! So all you have to do now is to just give it a rinse. So just pour away the soapy water, rinse it, and you can do the next recipe. Okay, so put it back in, and the next recipe I'm going to show you is a bit of fun. It's a hazelnut praline. So what I've done is I've made this slab of caramel. So very simple, it's just hard caramel. You can even do it in the Thermomix. You can follow the cookie dough recipe how to make hard caramel, and it'll get you this really nice glossy, I can even peel it off, slab caramel. It's like glass, stained glass. Okay, so it's a bit huge to like kind of jam it in, so I like to smash it. And actually this is like the most like kid and fun part of doing caramel is to smash it. So I'll put it right beneath the caramel so you can see. So just use a hard rod or rolling pin, just smash it. And make sure it cracks into tiny pieces. And you know that you made good caramel when it cracks like that. Okay, so we're gonna add this glass sugar shards into our hazelnuts. So the ratio for the caramel to the hazelnuts is 2 to 1. So hazelnut is 2, sugar is 1. So we have here about 800 grams of hazelnuts and 400 grams of caramel. So we're just gonna add it in. So you must take out the butterfly whisk. We're not using that anymore. And it's just like the blade. And don't be scared to kind of fill it to the brim. So sometimes I really like, sometimes when you do nut butters, right? You're like, oh, is it okay? If you put too much, then it won't blend properly. That's why you can take it, man. Like you can fill it to the top and it still blend into a very nice butter. So we're going back to home and the blade function. So I go low again. I don't like just go to 10, like 0 to 10 so quickly. So I go to 1 and slowly go up. It's gonna get very loud here, so beware. Okay, so we are on speed 10 now, and you need to blend it until it's completely smooth. It should almost look like it's liquid. So like the hazelnut is like grounded into like liquid form. So I'll just look at it and stop the moment it hits that consistency. So at the end, to make it really smooth, I also like to just lower it down to speed 4 and just let it go for like about another 3 minutes. Then you can ensure that it's a really like smooth consistency. Because after a while, you don't need to be on speed 10 all the time, because the friction will actually burn the nuts. So like if it gets too heated up, or the Thermomix gets too heated up, you're literally toasting the nuts even more, which you don't want, because it can leave like a bitter aftertaste. So just go down to speed 4 and another 3 minutes. Okay, so it's gotten into a very beautiful consistency. Let me show you. And this is what you're looking at, like almost like it's liquid. So very smooth hazelnut butter with a bit of caramel. And with this recipe, you should kind of make it like, it's almost like it's just right. And if you want to be a bit more fancy, you can add a bit of smoked salt or sea salt into the butter itself, mix it through together, and you get like this salty sweet nut butter. So do try this at home, it's amazing. And you can try with almonds, macadamias, any kind of nuts that you want. Just be careful when you work with like pistachios, because if you toast the pistachio beforehand, it might get too heated up and you might burn the pistachio. So do use like unroasted ones for those kinds of nuts. For more like, they are delicate nuts lah. So for more like hardier stuff like almonds hazelnuts and macadamia, you can toast them first. Yeah. Okay, so all these cakes are just out of the oven. So while it's hot, you have to work fast. I like to add a little bit of lemon syrup. So I just made a very simple lemon syrup. It's just 1 to 1 to 1 of lemon, water and sugar. So this is kind of like a trick that bakery always uses to keep their cakes really moist. A lot of like home cooks, they don't usually have this habit of like dousing their cakes with like a bit of syrup. But what it does is that it keeps the cake really moist, and because this is a lemon syrup, it's not like extra sweet or anything. So it adds a very nice citrus taste to it as well. Okay, so sometimes like it gets stuck to the side. So what I like to do is just to use a kind of an offset spatula. It's like this really tiny flat spatula, and just go around the sides and it should pop down pretty easily. But so far so good. Just turn it over. So you wanna like put the syrup on both sides. Some people like to put it on all sides, but I think that's a bit too much. So I only do the bottom and the top. So like get a really nice big brush like that. It's like the perfect size for this cake. And just dab it. So you don't want it to be overly doused with syrup. Just one coating is good enough. If you're making a spice cake, you can make your syrup spiced as well. So it's really good for autumn times or Thanksgiving. We're gonna make a spice cake. So you just turn it. It also gives a really nice like gloss to the finished cake. And this one, I like to leave it for 1 day, and the next day like all the syrup is like really soaked in, and the cake has had some time to rest and it tastes really good then. If not, you can leave this cake in the fridge up to a week. I would say safe to be 4 days, but after a week it's still fine. So don't worry, you can make a big batch and just put it in the fridge. The best way if you're making like a very big batch, like 40 or 100 cakes, right, is to wrap it up and then put it individually into the freezer, and then it can last you like for a whole year. Then you don't have to like keep making cakes if like your kids keep asking you for cakes or something. Yeah. Okay, so now we have already syruped it. I'm gonna show you how the bakery kind of like garnish the cake for the customers. So we have all our elements here. I'm using like the end bits. So we have some butter, nut butters here, and I kind of like to just generously dress the top like that, so that every mouth you get, right, you get like almond butter or nut butters. And then this is some lemon custard that we use for our bombolonis, but it has a nice garnish as well. Then we have some blueberry gems. I mean, these are all like elements that you can also make in a Thermomix, like your custards, your jams, your butters. If you're feeling like you want to put extra effort, you know, you can just eat it simply, you know, no one will judge you. Then I like to just add a little bit of petals. These are orange cosmos. It just gives it like a pop of color. And our customers always go crazy for them. So here we go. It's the blueberry lemon cake with nut drizzle and some custard and jam. So what we did today is a blueberry lemon loaf cake with a really delicious hazelnut praline topping. So do try this recipe out because it's really, really good, and you should give it a go yourself. And it's really simple using the Thermomix. It is done in like with baking within an hour. So very easy recipe to try. And if you do post up like all your wonderful creations. I would like to see your variation and your take on the loaf cake. and you can add all your different kinds of combination as you like. So also do come down to Sourbombe Bakery to say hello to us, because Chinese New Year and Valentine's Day is coming right around the corner. So do come down, you know, grab a sweet treat or a gift for your loved ones, and I hope to see you there. Thank you.